What's up, world, and welcome back to the Super Investor Show. Now, if you didn't know, we do this every Monday, but we weren't actually going to do it today. I hold my hands up. I was slacking, but shout out to my producer, Niall. He made this all happen. Now, today we are speaking with the CMO at SpectrumNFT. I'm going to hold my hands up and say NFTs are not my strong suit. And we're going to dive into the world of someone who's had great success and, in his own words, made a lot of money, lost a lot of money. And because of that, he now doesn't lose as much money, he doesn't get as much money, but is happier. And more importantly, we're going to find out how his transition has been into what I believe is going to be one of the biggest NFT marketplaces. So please, everyone, welcome up. I keep saying this every week, my good friend, because my network truly is made up of some incredible people who are my friends. Jonny Seymour, the CMO at SpectrumNFT.
Hey, Jordan, how you doing?
All the better for seeing you, buddy. And is the Tash preparing for November, or?
The Tash just comes out every now and again. You know, it only takes me about a week to get it this serious. It goes fast. So, you know, sometimes I just like to rock one.
Oh, man, don't rub it in, because no, our producer, he's known me for years, and my facial hair journey has been a struggle.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about facial hair. We're here to talk about investing. More importantly, your superpower and your weakness. But before we do that, I know who you are, but how would you define Jonny?
So, you know, I'm a tech obsessed person, right? I've been involved with keeping up to date with tech ever since I was a child, really. And that's kind of who I am fundamentally. And I have a really big background in advertising. I worked in advertising for 13 years, kept on the cutting edge of products, sports, technology, and I just transitioned into this crypto space really easily. I think it was looking out for people with backgrounds like mine or different backgrounds from any kind of field, and it's just I've created a little niche for myself where I can put myself into companies and add a lot of value straight away with the knowledge that I've built up in my history of advertising. And lately, for the last probably year and a half, the NFTs really have been my obsession. I would say it's fair to say it's definitely not just what I do for a job. It's, you know, I wake up, I'm checking the markets, I'm checking the communities, I'm engaging with people on Twitter, and it takes over my life, to be honest. But I really enjoy it, and I think that's a key thing for me, is that if you can invest and make money in something that you really truly love, then you're going to have a lot more success.
And that is a quote which our first ever guest was saying was, when you invest in a company or a project, ask yourself, would you be willing to go work for them?
Yeah.
And I think that lines up with what you're saying right now, which is, yeah, if you can match up both of those passions, you're onto a winner. You're onto a winner. So what does day-to-day look like for you now, Jonny?
So day-to-day really is we're building a marketplace at the moment. Alongside that, we've also got some other projects going on. So really, I'm just checking in with the teams, giving direction on where we'd like to go. I'm keeping up to date with like the latest UI and changing it, maybe coming up with some new features that we're picking out. And then I'll have a late night dev call a bit after that. So I kind of do it. I'm spotted all over the place, really, just doing a few different bits and bobs, but I've kind of really just managed the teams and make sure that everything's trending in the right direction and we're keeping on time with everything.
Brilliant. And I know you'll be at NFT London. So will I, our home city. So can't wait to be in person again with you, buddy. But until then, now we get over to our two questions. So number one, what is your superpower, Jonny, as an investor?
So I would have to say it's confidence, and confidence in buying in this market is a really big superpower and skill to have, you know, because everybody says buy when others are fearful, but very few actually do, because it is terrifying, right? You know, you only have to look at the last, let's say 6 weeks, because I haven't checked the charts this second. if you'd have bought ETH when it dropped below $1,000, you could have doubled your money in this horrendous market. And we're looking at a time where actually we're almost getting back to that sub-$1,000 ETH. You know, I kind of price everything on that because it's the main one that I follow, right? But so what I'm trying to say is that even though this is a bloody bear market and a lot of people are losing a lot of money and people are seeing their portfolios crash down, the reality is that you could have made a ton of money even in this market. You know, Bored Ape Yacht Club's cryptocurrency, it has had phenomenal success in the last month or so as well. So you know, there's definitely ways you can still make money buying in this market and buying with confidence and actually seeing and just looking at the fear and greed index. And if it's blood red and you feel confident in what you believe in and you see a future in the product that you're buying, why not go for it? Put the cards on the table.
The tricky thing, because I'm always playing devil's advocate on the show, because I'm always knowing what some people sitting on the fence will say, which is, but Jonny, how on earth do you even build that confidence? It's easy for you to say because I know you've been through trials and tribulations. And it's often hard for us to remember what it was like when we didn't have that confidence. So today, how do you maintain your confidence in what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So specifically with cryptocurrency, my confidence really comes from the future, right? And the idea that I know one day regulation will come. You know, been involved in conversations with them, and I keep very much up to date with what's happening. And when you listen to videos, talks, or even speak to people that manage hedge funds, for example, just one tiny bit. You know, Kevin O'Leary did a speech recently, and he manages a hedge fund for $800 billion. And he said that as soon as regulation's in, 5% of all of these hedge funds will be moving into cryptocurrency. And he said that's just the beginning. So when we look at the market cap of cryptocurrency in general, and we see how small it is, I can buy with super confidence at these prices, knowing that if I'm willing to sit on it for a prolonged period of time, then I'm going to make my money back, because as soon as that regulation kicks in and we're looking at maybe a $10 trillion market cap, not the $3 trillion market cap, which it was in the last bull run, you know, the prices are going to be absolutely incredible. So that's kind of what the confidence really is in me about with cryptocurrency, because I think I can make money short term, but worst case scenario, I've just got to sit on it a few years and I'm confident that it'll get back.
I couldn't agree more with you. Interestingly, you mentioned Kevin O'Leary. Who else are you listening to, or what pages or channels are you following that you're like, yeah, I trust this person?
Yeah. Oh, I honestly don't think I could say that I trust an individual for a source of knowledge or advice, to be honest.
Okay.
I used to really regularly listen to a few different YouTubers and things like that, but the more time I've been in the market, the more I'm just like, I watch worst case scenario videos and best case scenario videos and try and figure out happy medium ground myself. And just, I follow so many different people on Twitter and watch so many different YouTube channels that you get a broad spectrum of, no pun, broad spectrum of advice or what people are seeing. Because if you get obsessed with one person, you know, nobody calls it right every time. Nobody does. And you know, I think the one person that in my mind that I can think of as being really consistent is Alex Becker.
The name rings a bell. Remind me who Alex Becker is.
So Alex Becker is just a really big YouTuber. He's made serious money over crypto. And he's like an OG investor. He's been in the space a very long time, but he always says that he tries to call things 20% from the bottom and 20% from the top. He doesn't try and hit the bottom or the top. He tries to get as near to it as possible. And he likes to try and predict what he sees is going to be big in the next bull run, right? So a lot of people right now are talking about gaming and NFT gaming, crypto gaming being the next bull run. These are going to be the places where you want your money to be to get really silly returns, because their market caps are tiny in comparison to the top 25, 50 tokens. So, you know, you bet on a few of them, the right ones, who knows what you could get.
On that note, I saw a tweet out this morning, although crypto amnesia, I thought it was ages ago, this morning about an account I don't even follow, but she was saying that what you're just saying right now, there are people who in crypto have made 50x from projects you probably never heard of, or accounts you've never heard of, more importantly. So Alex Becker sounds like he's got a big following. Am I right in saying that, Jonny?
Yes.
Well, this tweet was saying there's many other accounts who you're not following, who you don't know of, who have been hitting the target 6 times out of 10. And that simply doing a advanced Google search for Twitter accounts 50x keywords using the advanced settings on Google will then start to bring up tweets from Twitter accounts who have tweeted out something 50x.
Yeah.
And from there, you can then work backwards and find out these accounts who either presently, recently, or even a couple of years ago have been accurate. So you're not wrong.
Yeah, no, it's you know, it's all about not. I just don't like to put your eggs in one basket or with one person. I think you ultimately you have to trust yourself and your gut and what's right for you. You shouldn't ever over leverage, or you know, unless you really know what you're doing, you shouldn't be, you know, shorting anything or longing anything unless you really understand the markets and you understand what you're doing, because there's a massive risk. And it's just trust your gut, do a lot of research if you can, and you'll hit a winner eventually. You will, and in this space, we know the winners can be incredible.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you one last question on the topic of your superpower, and it's going to be a tricky one, but I'll load it to give you time, which is, when do you know you're ready? E.g., when do you know you've had enough confidence to invest? And I'll say this second part to give you more time to think, Jonny, which is, there's an interesting graph, which is at the beginning of your investing journey specifically, you think you know this much, but you actually know this much.
Yeah.
And as time goes on, the graph kind of switches up. And how much you think you know is down here. And then, oh, no, sorry, let me get that right. Yes, how much you think you know is actually down here. And then it's actually the fear of all this space up here, knowing that the more you start to learn, the more you realize you don't know much at all. But at the beginning, you think you know an awful lot. But as you go on your journey, you realize you don't know a lot at all. But actually, your knowledge does increase. But that space, which I think you and I are in, I'm coming up to my 3-year anniversary. I think you are 2 or 4 years.
A little bit longer, but seriously investing probably 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
There you go. I think we're both in the same space where we now realize we know enough to say we don't know much at all.
Yeah.
So what point, Jonny, is that intersection where someone's ready to invest?
So, you know, I just think, if from my personal experiences, I didn't start investing until, you know, well into my late 20s, and I actually feel like just that is a benefit in itself, because when you're young, you'll happily take big risks, right? And that might pay off, but also you could lose everything very quickly. And a big thing for me was that something that my dad actually said to me is that, you know, it just enjoy your 20s, just enjoy them, have as much fun as you can, try not to worry about the future, your savings and all this stuff too much, which some people be screaming at me thinking that's crazy. But you know, I've had an incredible life. I've traveled loads and done all this stuff, and I feel like it's made me a very like well-rounded person. And that once you get to your late 20s or your early 30s and you have a higher income, you can actually save a lot more money quicker anyway. So you kind of have more money to play with and invest, and you've got a bit of a better head on your shoulders. So when I really got into crypto investing, the first year or 2 years really was just small, regular investments, playing around, and actually just trading quite a bit and following news sites and learning, and not really committing more than 10, 15% of what my pool of savings was, because I didn't understand this beast. And then the problem with that is that as soon as I had a big win, you go, well, what is this money doing here? And then everything comes in, right? And that's when it goes bad.
Which we're now going to come on to.
That's when the first lessons get learned, right?
And I'm so glad that you're not afraid to talk about what's gone wrong, because now we come on to your weakness. And we spoke offline about this, about you losing a lot of money. You don't have to give us an account, especially if your partner's listening. What is your weakness, Jonny? And more importantly, how are you overcoming it?
Yeah, so a big weakness of mine, not with crypto, specifically with NFTs, this is letting go of them, right? You become so ingrained in, especially if you want to be an active community member. If you're passionate about the project, then and you get really involved and you've invested a lot of money in it, giving that up and then leaving the community is really difficult, because your name will change color in the Discord. People will know you've sold because your wallet comes up and everybody knows each other's wallets or what images you've got. And so then you see someone else rocking it and you're like, ah, that was mine.
Just really quickly, Johnny, because I don't want anyone to lose what you're saying right now, which is you made a clear distinction at the beginning, crypto and NFT. Explain to the audience why you can sell crypto and still be part of the community, but when you sell NFT, you can't.
Sure. So the biggest difference really is that if you own the NFT and you're a part of the community and you're using that as your profile picture, or maybe you've got a few from that set and you're rotating between a few of them. Once you sell that, someone else in that community is going to be using that picture and you're not going to be using it anymore. So you feel like you've like betrayed them almost, or you've given something up, or that's no longer yours, so you can't rock it anymore. There's much more of a sense of attachment to it than some tokens. And I think that's why NFTs have had so much success, is because especially post-COVID, where we were all talking over the internet, Zoom calls, Skype, people were looking for communities to find and immerse themselves in, and NFTs come along, right? And everybody's got these pictures and you get into these private Discords and you talk and you've got loads in common and they're all interested in similar things to you. And all of a sudden you find yourself talking to people from all over the world and you're all passionate about the same thing. And I hadn't really found that in the crypto space anywhere near to the same extent that I found it in the NFT space.
You're not wrong, because, and please correct me if I'm wrong, and it's probably not absolute, the majority of NFTs aren't divisible. You can't sell half of your NFT, right? Most cases you're selling that piece of art. We know it's got underlying value, but you're selling that piece of art. 9 times out of 10, especially if it's a high value, high utility one, you don't have many. Whilst with crypto tokens, you may have 10,000, 100,000, even millions if you've got some Luna Classic like this idiot who bought in at $1 thinking, I'm going to win. Anyway, but we know there's people who are hurting, so we're not talking about that too much. But you can sell 2 tokens and still be part of the XRP community. If you sell 2 of your NFTs, bases, if you've got 2, you're probably not part of it anymore. So, of course, when you let go of it, you're getting a financial return. So how do you handle your NFTs then, Johnny? Do you have exit strategies for them?
Yeah, so I think another part of, if once you've sold your NFT, if it's your only one, like you said, if you own a Bored Ape Yacht Club or something like that, and it is a high ticket item, if you're selling it, you're almost saying, I don't believe in this project anymore, because I no longer see this going up in value, because I'm exiting and I don't want to stay in anymore. Whereas if you have that long-term vision, you see them constantly progressing, in theory it should travel with it, right? But ultimately there's a price and a point where everybody has in their head that you've got to think, oh, I have to think about my family, for example. I've got a kid and a partner, and so that I can't be as free with this stuff as I used to be in the bull run last year, when I was flipping and doing some crazy trades. But now I'm a bit more conservative, and I like to plan ahead and have strategies in my head when I buy the NFT. So I don't necessarily watch it and think, I'm going to let this play out for 3 months or a year, or I'm going to do this or that. Like, I like to think, if I know that they're releasing products, for example, if it's a utility driven NFT, I will sell into the utility now. So I won't wait for it. I'll normally sell a few days before, when it's hot and the trading volume's high. In the last bull run, especially in some big projects that I was a part of, you get really immersed in it and you think, this is incredible. The volume's going up, the floor's going up, which is the lowest price you could sell it for. And you just think, this is never going to end. This is never going to end. But the reality is those pumps in the NFT space tend to only last 2 to 3 days. And then they'll settle back down. And then there'll be another period where they'll come back. That's not to say that the floor price will drop, but it tends to have that correlation.
Yeah. And one thing that's a pattern, whether it be crypto or NFTs, because like I said at the beginning, I don't have much exposure. In fact, I have a few I need to dust off and figure out what's going on with them. Is the people that I've had on the show, they don't have timelines. They don't say, I'm going to sell this token or NFT in 5 years or 2 years. As you and I both know, there's a whole lot that can happen within those 2 years. Not just, the price of your asset, but life. You can have a kid, someone can lose a job, you may want to move home. So life gets in the way. So I'm so happy you said before you get in, you have a exit strategy. Probing a little bit more. When it comes to creating an exit strategy for an NFT, how much of it is technical analysis? How much is, as you said, fundamentals, looking at what the project's doing?
Yeah, so again, it depends on what you're entering into, right? Like if it's one of the key things that's becoming more and more prevalent the more projects that come out is who is it that's making this project. We saw Moonbirds is a big project that was released right at the end of maybe the start of the bear market, end of the bull market. But the guy that was running it was like a key figure from Web 2, a guy called Kevin Rose. So when he stepped in, it was like you could see that this guy's already got a big backing behind him. He knows how to build teams. He knows how to build products that are going to be successful. So why would you not bet on this guy to be a success? Yeah. And the volume was the wildest volume that was seen in the NFT space in its period of time. Like I think in 2 days, it was in the thousands of Ethereum. It went from, I think they were trading within a couple of days at 40 grand an NFT, which is wild. You don't, you very, very, very rarely see that from nothing.
Yeah.
So, right now, I think one thing that's not to be underestimated as well, that people wouldn't get when they don't understand NFTs, crypto culture, or maybe where cryptos come from and who the founders are, is that never underestimate the meme, right? Meme culture. Meme culture in NFTs in particular, or even, not in NFTs, actually, crypto, right? Look at you got Doge and Sheeb and the success that people have had.
Yeah.
In NFTs, it's no different, right? Like, I minted a ton of a set called Crypto Dick Butts.
I remember this period, and I really thought about unfollowing you, but I'd still follow you.
Yeah. So I was. This was over a year ago. I still actually own a few of them because I love the community. There are a lot of OG punk people, and they're just really funny, down to earth guys from around the world that have been in crypto a while and just understand that you've got to have a bit of fun every now and again. And these went from $50 a piece to like $7 grand, and they're still this. We're talking a year and a half in, steady growth, still at this kind of price range. So you kind of you have to have that in mind as well. That sometimes you can do all the research you want, all the technical analysis. Check out this team. This is going to be amazing. They got this utility going, and then someone will release a picture of a frog or a dick butt, and it will do 10 times better than all of your technical analysis. You've always got to have in the back of your head, right? That
Jonny, bring us back though. How does someone find the next dick butt? Like jokes semi aside, how did you know dick butts were going to be a winner?
So my buddy phoned me up, and he was just like, "You've got to have a look at these. They're hilarious." And I immediately went on the website, and I just had the biggest grin on my face. I can't tell you how much it made me laugh and spoke to like my inner child almost. I just found it so funny, and I just thought, you know what, I've got to get in on this. I just loved it, and I just gradually bought some over the next few months and was just buying up pieces that it was just all about these make me laugh. And that was it. And I just thought, if this makes me laugh, it's going to make a lot of people laugh. And that was all that was all that was. And it ended up being one of my best investments to date.
Well done to you, man. If I had a hat, I'd be taking it off and putting it straight back on, because to say on this channel that, everyone, if it makes you laugh, and I think if we go even deeper, it spoke to you, it connected to you, it spoke to you in a way that you as an investor could tie your identity to this. And you realized, hang on a second, this isn't so niche where it is speaking to me because it's a bilingual NFT, right? No, this is as silly as dick butts, and it's a universal language of this is silly. And of course, there's going to be a bunch of investors, probably a lot of them, who think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then the minority over here who are like, that's hilarious. You realize the network effect there. So I know you want to say something.
No, I was just saying, you know, we again with another part of the thinking, it wasn't just it. I found it fun, and that was the main reason. But also looking at it and knowing the NFT space at the time, and looking around and thinking, there hadn't really been meme culture in NFTs yet. There was a few bits and pieces, but nothing that had great success.
Yeah.
And you only got to look at the crypto space to realize how much success meme tokens can have, or meme projects can have. So you'd almost be a fool to think that it wouldn't be applied here as well, right? So there was a little bit of thought in it, but really it was probably down to, I think it's great. Now, when you go to on a more like serious investing side, right? Like when you start looking at the serious teams like Yuga Labs, for example, with Bored Ape Yacht Club, you know, you can their roadmaps out, you can see it, what they've got coming out over the next year, and they give rough time frames on their leak pitch deck. There's some bits out there. So you can kind of invest knowing, right, even right now, for example, we're in the midst of a pump through Bored Ape Yacht Club and the Mutant Ape Yacht Club because their staking system's coming out.
Cool.
Now, their staking system's going to be different because they actually have a token that's already got over $1 billion market cap. So it's like, you know that's actually got something that it can fall back on. It's not a meme token that hasn't got any value. This token has value. So if the mutants and Bored Apes can generate this token from staking, that's going to be valuable.
Of course it is. Because it also means people get to stay part of that community, as you were saying.
Exactly. So being the more level-headed investor I am now, I've bought a few of them and I will be selling days before the staking goes live because I know that that's when the value will be at its all-time high and the price will naturally drop down a bit, but the people that stay in will earn their money through the staking rewards. I'm just not interested in holding for a substantial period of time at the moment. I'm more looking for in and outs over a couple of months, to be honest, in this market.
Well, I have to say the highlight of this is the fact we've said dick butts quite a few times. But the second highlight would be that point right there, which is your weakness is letting go of the NFTs. I know that's going to be a weakness for a lot of us. You know, we have a strong identity to whatever token we hold because you're part of X community. And that wasn't just a hint to XLM or XRP, but I mean X as in any token community or an NFT community. And when you actually find a utility where you can earn a yield, it's the best of both worlds, where you still get to be part of it and you can live, hopefully, that's a beautiful goal for many of us, but you can still generate some sort of revenue off it. So it's lovely, Jonny, that you have not only identified, but you're sharing that with people so they don't have to separate from that identity. And if there's one last thing that you wanted to share, what would that be?
I think a big changer for me as well has been, especially with crypto decisions, and when we're talking in money that isn't realized yet, is that the last year in particular, when the prices start to get to a point where I'm nervous or I'm thinking, oh, I should sell this, but my gut's telling me this goes further.
Yeah,
I take a step back and I'll just go and meditate and actually really think about it and think, how much do I earn from my job? And I've earned X from this trade, and actually break it down and really think about it and be like, why am I risking all of this or potentially all of my profit for potentially making another 10, 20% when actually the amount that's in this pot now is a lovely amount of money that would take me months, maybe years to save up to, right? So sometimes you just have to really take yourself out of it, not think about the community, not think about anything else, and actually think about your personal situation. You know, what are your dreams and goals? You know, like, do you want to be able to buy a home for your family or something like that? You know, incremental gains are a much easier way to get there than to risk everything each time to being, you know, getting that one crazy trade, which you might get.
You're not wrong. And I can relate perfectly right now, and it's something I'm going through, which is I'm selling my Rolex. It's my first Rolex, and you're part of now the Rolex club, right?
Yeah.
And I know there are actual Rolex clubs. I'm glad I didn't join them because it would have been harder.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say harder is because the luxury watch market, Rolex, the prices have been soaring of recent, and it's okay. I told myself I'd let go of this, and it wasn't as hard as I thought, purely because I wanted to make an investment in some pre-IPO for Ripple. And also invest in a tech company. And I had to go away and meditate, just like you, Johnny. It was like, do I hold on to this Rolex a little bit longer, have my identity, hope that it keeps appreciating, or do I get into some Ripple shares now before they go public and win the lawsuit? Not knowing, of course, when. And invest in this tech company now, so that in a year to 5 years' time, I can start living off the equity from the tech company or sell my Ripple shares. And when that decision was made, it was easy to let go of the Rolex. And I think that is a beautiful point you've just brought out. Time, step back, meditate.
Yeah.
What does this money mean to me?
Yeah.
So
And
thank you
again,
for helping me my mind up as well.
yeah. I mean, you're going from investing in something that you might be passionate about with watches, right? But I would say it's fair to say your knowledge isn't there with watches, right? You couldn't probably build a watch or understand it, the insides and everything, right? Whereas getting into the Ripple and this tech company might be subjects that you're much more familiar with and understand and able to follow closely and understand when to sell, when to buy, and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like you'll probably be better off in the long run investing in something that you know, right?
It's common sense, but it's not always common practice, right? Invest in what you know.
It's so true, yeah. And it's like I'd love to be this guy that owns a load of properties and sits there and lives off the rent that's coming in, but it bores the hell out of me, if I'm honest. And I don't really, I don't
It
get the
scares me as
market.
well because you're dealing with humans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas like I can sit in my bedroom trading JPEGs and I really enjoy it and I love it. So that's kind of the route that I'm choosing to spend my investments and to keep speculating on. And it's going all right.
Brilliant, Johnny. Well, look, I'm always going to be supporting from afar, whatever you invest in, even if it is a butt and a dick put together. But honestly, you've taught me so much on here. I'm sure someone watching right now is 1% better, thanks to you, Johnny. So with that being said, buddy, look forward to having you on the show in the future. You're always welcome, and we'll see you when I see you.
Yeah. Anytime, buddy. Love to do it again.
Brilliant, Johnny.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Thank you.
Well, well, well. There we go, everyone. Like I said at the beginning, this often is a show where selfishly I'm going to learn something new, but by doing so, you're watching and you're going to learn something new. And although NFTs I've kind of always put off, there's so much which I've learned and also been practicing, but I never realized. So I hope, if anything, if you don't get into NFTs from this, it helps you with your investing strategy and what you want to do next. With that being said, we're going to be here next Monday, and we have a remarkable guest from the XRP community. I like to build a little bit of anticipation, so be sure to follow me on Twitter at Jordan Harry with 2 N's and 2 Y's. And of course, we'll be sharing this across YouTube and LinkedIn, and most recently, TikTok. So with that being said, go spend time with your family, and we'll see you next week. Ciao for now, everyone.